You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day, or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. I'm your host, Graeme Forsyth. Today's episode is brought to you by Piranata, Fabricland Winkler, and Evolve Green. Moving forward on Thursdays, we're going to be turning our Thursday shows into an all Manitoba-based coverage episode, and it's going to be awesome to get to talk to players from the MFHL still. We're going to get a chance to talk to a lot of members from the MJBL, some senior baseball stuff, as well as some softball stuff from around Manitoba. And in today's episode, I know on Tuesday I said that we're going to be covering the MFHL, MJBL, senior baseball, and softball, but today we're only going to be covering two, and the first guest joining me is the president of the MJBL, Jamie Bettens, and Jamie joins me to talk about what the plan is heading into the season, how things are going to potentially work, as well as who he sees could be the favorites in this year's league coming into this 2021 season. So sit back, relax, enjoy today's edition of Coffee with Graeme here on ASTV Productions with my first guest, Jamie Bettens, president of the MJBL here on ASTV Productions. Joining me now is league president of the MJBL, Jamie Bettens, making his third ever appearance on Coffee with Graeme. And Jamie, how are you doing today? I know that you're saying you're going to get vaccinated at 2:30, so that's got to be exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's not quite as exciting as starting the MJBL season, but certainly something I'm looking forward to as somebody who had COVID much earlier in the year. I'm just looking to do my part as all of our volunteers are, and just concerned about a safe society for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And just how was that experience for you just going through having COVID?
It certainly wasn't easy. I was one of the less fortunate ones that went through what they refer to as long haulers or long COVID as well. So not only did I have COVID for a number of days, once that was done, I had long-term effects. I had memory loss. I had extreme fatigue, and it lasted in excess of about 3.5 to 4 months. Finally back to a full bill of health now, and thankful for that, as I still like to coach and put back as much as I can, and do things like keep the MJBL running as smoothly as possible. So when you're in a position of I guess of volunteerism, coaching or administrating and things like that, you try your best to think about everybody else that you're affecting, and through those times, not just your immediate family, but there's such a large circle. If you're around people, the least I can do is do my part and go get vaccinated as quickly as possible. And I recommend everybody else do the same. This is for real, and it can happen to you. So.
Yeah, and that's not just the effects that you had, like memory loss and stuff like that. I couldn't even imagine, but it's good that you're in good health now, of course, and it's awesome that you're going to get vaccinated finally. And yeah, for everyone out there that's kind of hesitant about getting the vaccine, I'd say, why not get it? It wouldn't hurt to be vaccinated for sure during these times. So let's move away from the COVID stuff. We'll touch on it a bit more, as it's going to have to do with the MJBL and if you guys are going to be able to have a full season, in your opinion. But let's talk about just the desired start date for the MJBL this season. I mean, in On Manitoba.ca in Order 13.3, it reads organized practices, games, and competitions at outdoor sporting facilities may take place, but the operator of a facility may ensure that no multi team tournaments are permitted at the facility. So, at this time, what would you say is the desired start date for the MJBL to start the regular season?
Well, the Board of Governors from the league has targeted kind of the week after Mother's Day, so around that the 16th is kind of our targeted start date. We are fully compliant with not only Baseball Manitoba but the province of Manitoba and any guidelines present in and around that timeline. The current state of affairs are that our teams are permitted to do internal workouts, follow the rules. It's a blessing that we've gone through it already, having run the league last year. So everybody seems to be pretty familiar with it. And if anything, has the opportunity to tighten up on any miscues that maybe we went through last year. There are no intermingling, I guess, or inter squads between organizations at this point. So anything is done internally. It's just with the group that you have. And from that point on, we're hoping that we can start having games like some of the other programs that are out there within the next few weeks or halfway through the month. Barring that, if it's not going to be optimal for us, we'll simply delay and push deeper into summer. The one thing that we have on our side is that the national championships and the Western Canadian championships have been canceled. So, there's no rush to get the season completed because there's nobody that has to take off to go to any championships. The final thing here is, we'd love to finish in a good time so that our college athletes have ample time to go back down south and re-quarantine if needed prior to starting their seasons.
And how big of an issue is that going to be for just players that are not around from Manitoba that are going to be playing in the league this season? Just the process of getting them into games and stuff.
Yeah, it's not easy. I give a lot of credit to all of our organizations for following the rules and just kind of doing what we need to do to just provide our players with the most safe environment and one where they can still thrive and compete and train to either just be successful or to train and be successful going back down to college. Not everybody goes away to college after the season's over, and so there's a lot of different agendas that we have to adhere to. When those players come back, they obviously follow the quarantine rules, can't join their team for a certain amount of time. But a lot of them are kind of funneling back over these first few weeks while the league is still not necessarily in, and hopefully everybody's ready to go. And I would anticipate, sometime in June, our league being in absolute full swing, meaning all the players, are safe, everybody has isolated, and our best product is on the field every night.
Let's say that the season does start up in June. Just what's going to be the process of the schedule? Is it going to be a season like last year, or are we going to see a less amount of games played this year rather than last year if it was to start at that date?
We're actually going to see more. We're going to have a 31 game schedule this year, so it's going to be increased. Unfortunately, we lost a team. St. Boniface was unable to fulfill their player commitment. It's a bit of a blessing and a curse in our league in that some teams that are flush with some pretty good players, some of those players don't always come back because they move on to college leagues or wood bat leagues or stay in the United States if they're down there. And I think St. Boniface is suffering from a little bit of attrition this year. However, we've added the provincial U18 team to the mix. So Team Manitoba will be participating in our league and playing against everybody as much as they can as well. They unfortunately can't go to Baseball Canada's Canada Cup. So we're going to try to help them by providing as stiff a competition as possible by playing our member teams as well.
And in terms of just the crowds and how they'll look, I also read on Manitoba.ca that it says on Order 13.6, it says that only one parent or caregiver for each minor participating in a sport and activity at an outdoor sporting facility may watch the sport and activity, and all spectators must maintain a separation of at least 2 meters from each other. So how would that affect the MJBL this season, and just who's going to be able to come out and watch?
That affects us greatly. It's a deep concern for all of our member teams at this point, because the Manitoba Junior Baseball League is somewhat of a unique league. We're not the only one, but we're one of a select few that charges admission in order to run the programs that we run. We play games that require lights. We play games that require certain field specifications, and everything costs money. So, our programs, we try our best to keep as much the cost down for our players. And so a big part of it for our teams is fundraising. And right now, not having the ability to have a couple of hundred fans out at a game, maybe more if it's, the right teams and the right night, that's revenue that can't be captured really anywhere else aside from, volunteer donations or some sort of level of fundraising. So this is something that we're watching very closely. Right now, we have rules in place that the players and coaching staff and management, anybody who's on their ramp interactive roster, is permitted to show up. And once they're kind of inside the field or inside the fence limits, then parents are permitted to kind of set up their spots, and it is following the rules. And then after the game's over, the players are still staying somewhat on field in the facility until the parents leave, and then the players are permitted to go. But again, having a league where these players are driving themselves, not all parents are attending. We don't want it to get tricky by, saying we're still allowed X amount of fans. We're keeping this to families and following all rules possible. And I encourage anybody watching this to do whatever they can to support their teams in their local areas. If you hear about a fundraiser, you hear about a 50-50, you hear about a calendar draw. I know there's a lot of things out there in the world, and money's not easy for everybody, but if you can support these teams, please do, because we don't have a product without your support.
Yeah, for sure. Support is huge, and you heard the man. Just anything you can do to support these teams in this league, that'd be a great thing to do. Obviously, because fundraising definitely helps power a league like this. Just moving into the success that you guys had last season, and to just being able to play not only regular season but playoffs. It said on your website that you guys were the first organized league in the country to start and finish a full season. So just knowing that you were able to have the success that you did last year with having a full season, just how much pride do not only you but just everybody in the league take in that?
A ton. And first and foremost, I have nothing to do with it. I'm blessed that I get to represent these great teams in this league and some really great people, but I take no credit for that. I place that all on the member teams and their executives, because it's their hard work and their adherence to the COVID protocols that allowed something like that to happen last year. I'm extremely proud to be representing that group, and I boast the MJBL as much as I can, whether it be talking about our players or just talking about our great province as a whole in baseball. We keep getting better and better. The product is, I wouldn't say at an all-time high, but it's certainly getting back to some good numbers as far as the talent pool. I'm very hopeful that we can repeat this. I'm very hopeful that the players that are unable to go to other teams again for the summer realize that after a couple of years in the MJBL, that this is still a viable place for them to play, to get better and to improve, to keep those relationships with the people they went to high school or played 18U ball with, and stay in Manitoba and play and make this league as great as possible, as great as we all think it is.
So, in terms of going into repeating that success this season, what would you say are the things that are going to have to happen? Obviously, the guidelines have to kind of fall in your guys' favor, as that's really something that you guys can't control. But what are going to be the biggest challenges, in your opinion, this season for the MJBL to have a season like they did last year?
I think it's, to put it bluntly, I think nobody can take anything for granted. There's not a single player, there's not a single coach, executive, or even fan that can take this for granted, just because of a little bit of success last season. This virus is for real. And, not to get on my soapbox, I'm certainly not the preeminent person to do that. But if we take our eyes off the ball, no pun intended, we don't have a season. If we lose one of our teams, we don't have a season. If we lose a group of players, we don't have a season. If we lose our officials, finals, we don't have a season. There's just so many things that could go in the wrong direction that nobody, and I encourage all of our teams, on any kind of communications, to always be diligent, be hyper aware, and overdo it, if anything. And by doing that, we just give ourselves the best possible chance to have our positive outcome, which is just a completed season. Winner, loser, it doesn't matter. It's completing a season.
Yeah, for sure. You got to stay alert, can't get caught off guard for sure. I think if you guys are all able to buy in and just stay paying extra attention, I think that, just if guidelines, permit, and you guys are still able to go out and play, that'll be great for you guys to be able to have a potential full season once again this year. Now, before I let you go, I just need to ask you about just who do you think is a favorite coming in this season? Just the Elmwood Giants, of course, coming off of their third straight championship. Can you speak about if you think that this Elmwood Giants team is going to be up to the task to repeat again, or do you think that there's going to be another team that's going to rival them for being one of the favorites to win the league this season?
I think the league is going to be very wide open. Something that comes with a three-time champion that can be overlooked is just the experience that maybe some of the players that were around for the first championship that were now going around for their fourth season. Maybe it was somebody from the 18U program that is, kind of just paid their dues over the past few years. Well, now they're an impact player, but they come with a more of a championship pedigree. So, in that respect, I have to think Elmwood, has a leg up on everybody to start. But that also puts a pretty big target on their back. And there are some really good teams that, towards the end of our season were really proving themselves. I think the Altona Bisons, had they not have had a lot of players at the end of the season, go on to their college commitments or have just life commitments in general in a farming community, maybe would have had, I guess the best way to say it is they would have probably put an even better effort into the final against Elmwood. So Altona is right up there as a team that would be hungry to kind of get back to where they were. And I think the St. James A's aren't going to be much of a secret as well. St. Boniface, obviously ceasing operations for 1 year, has probably flooded 5 or 6 potential impact players into the playing marketplace, so to speak. And I think St. James has made a few solid additions. They have a lot of college pitching coming back, and pitching seems to really determine the level of success in our league. So if there was maybe a 3-horse race, I at the outset, no disrespect to any of the teams I didn't mention, because I know, Interlake, Carillon, Winnipeg South, Pembina Valley, they're all running good programs. But I would say Elmwood, St. James, and Altona would be teams to watch, from the beginning right through to the end.
Well, I'm excited to see it. I'm sure you're excited to see it. I'm sure that all the fans of this league are excited to see it as well. And until next time, Jamie, I'm going to let you go now. I'll talk to you again. We're going to go to our first commercial break here in the show. I was joined now by Jamie Bettens, president of the MJBL. I'll be right back with another guest on this edition of Coffee with Graeme. But first, a word from one of our sponsors. Welcome back to Coffee with Graham here on ASTV, and the next guest joining me on the show now is number 9 of the Central Plains Capitals in the MFHL, Danika Botterill. And Danika joins me to talk about her experience participating in the inaugural mentorship program put on by the PWHPA, which is the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association, along with Hockey Canada. And Danika had a chance to participate in that mentorship program for 4 weeks back in March leading into April, and she had a chance to be mentored by Natalie Spooner, a pretty amazing mentor to be mentored by, if I do say so myself. And we also dive into just what her time was like with Central Plains this season since the last time I talked to her. So sit back, relax, enjoy the second interview in today's edition of Coffee with Graham with Danika Botterill as she joins me now. Joining me now is number 9 of the Central Plains Capitals, Danika Botterill, and he's here to talk to me tonight, as this interview is pre-recorded, about her experience participating in the mentorship program put on by Hockey Canada and the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association. So, Danika, before we start off, since the last time that you joined me, how have you been doing since then?
Good. Been skating a little bit in the morning, but yeah, it's great.
That's awesome. How have the morning skates been going?
Tiring, but
Yeah.
it's good to be on the ice since we weren't able to play earlier.
Yeah, for sure. And I think getting on the ice is probably one of the best things you can do in this time, even though there's been so much uncertainty this season and you guys weren't able to return to having a regular season or playoffs this season. But great that you've still had a chance to get back on the ice. And
Yeah.
just what's it been like throughout the time since we last talked for you just getting back on the ice with some of your teammates?
Yeah, we got to practice a little bit before it got shut down again, but it was really good just to see everybody and play with them all again.
Yeah, for sure. And in the mentorship program, it was said that in this article that I read on Portage Online that you were going to have a chance to share some of the group sessions with some of your teammates. Were you able to do some of that?
Yeah, some of them joined. It was really cool that like they could all come and see kind of what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Yeah, that's great. And in this article from portageonline.com, you said that just it's an unbelievable feeling and honor that out of all the U18 female hockey players that you were one of the 21 people chosen, just an amazing opportunity. So just speak about the feeling you had when you found out you're going to be participating in a mentorship program like this.
It was literally unbelievable. I couldn't like bring up the words at the start. It was just crazy. I was like, really? Me?
Yeah, that's crazy, and especially in its inaugural season of them doing this, just you had a chance to be mentored by an unbelievable hockey player, Natalie
Yeah.
Spooner. You had a chance to ask her questions. She had a chance to guide you, of course. But just what were those one-on-one sessions like, and just everything you got to do with Natalie Spooner?
We normally talked about like my goals and like what it would take to get to the high level. And she asked me a question about like my life, and I asked her what it would be like what's it like on Team Canada and
Yeah.
cool things like that.
Yeah, how unreal was it to hear some of her answers just coming from an Olympic champion, a player that's pretty much done it all in
Yeah.
Canada here in hockey for the women's game.
It was so cool. I was like, oh my God, I could do that someday, hopefully.
Yeah, and after just going through something like this, does it instill in you that you want to try to make it to a similar place where Natalie's been in her hockey career?
Yeah, it motivated me a lot more.
Yeah, for sure, and it has to be motivating just getting to learn from a player like that. That's an Olympic champion, has had a chance to compete in 2 Olympics in
Mhm.
Sochi and Pyeongchang, which is just unbelievable. It was said in the article that you plan to soak in as much knowledge as you could throughout the over the 4 weeks and take advantage of that opportunity as much as possible. Just what would you say coming out of the mentorship program that you took away from it the most?
I think I took away like what I need to do to get to that level, work, work out lots in the week while continuing to also play hockey and set my goals and then achieve them. as I continue on to play.
And just, you had a chance to do some group sessions, the one-on-ones. Just what was your favorite part of the whole experience of going through something like this?
Probably just being able to talk to Natalie,
Yeah,
because I thought that was so cool that she's like lots of people know who she is, so that was really interesting.
that's unreal. Did you have a chance to take any? I guess you guys were doing it virtually. Any
Yeah.
screenshots of you guys? Any
Yeah,
snapshots?
I got one of us, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just throughout the 4 weeks, I'm sure that you had a lot of fun. Did you feel like the 4 weeks, did you
Mhm.
feel throughout the 4 weeks that it just flew by as fast as it could have?
Yeah, it was so fast. By the end, I was like, oh, I wish I could keep going.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So we're gonna move away from that and just talk about the Central Plains Capitals. Just taking what you learned from the mentorship program. How do you feel like you're gonna be able to take all the tools and the life lessons and just the skills that you learned throughout the mentorship program to help your team going into next season?
I think that'll be like really good for me and my team because I'll be able to like tell them some things that she told me and that could help all of us.
And you also said we'll move back into the article from portageonline.com. You
Mhm.
said that you hope to be motivated and inspired to continue your hockey career, which obviously you are. You said
Yeah.
you wanted to learn what it's going to be like in my future and what's to come. I hope to learn how to develop both physically and mentally inside and outside of hockey and just grow as a person. So throughout those 4 weeks, how would you say that you developed mentally and both physically?
Mentally, like I feel like now since I have her and I could talk to her about if I want to go to school, she said I could talk to her about what I can do. So that's good to mentally know that somebody is like out there that's hoping and wishing the best for me. And so that'll help me mentally knowing I could do it. And physically, just knowing that I need to work out what I need to do. That'll help if I continue to work out, that'll help physically and be able to play better.
The last time you joined me, you said that you played hockey all your life with
Mhm.
the Portage Terriers before joining the Central Plains Capitals, and you said you were more of a passer on that team. With the Central Plains Capitals, you turned into more of a goal scorer. Just throughout the past two seasons you had, your first one in 2019, 2020, and this season, just how would you say you've adapted to that role of being a goal scorer on the Central Plains Capitals team?
I think I've adapted better. It's easier once, like, since I played my second year, this was my third year. So I'm getting used to being more of a goal scorer. So that's good that I'm.
Yeah, and you talked about how you were focusing on wanting to shoot more, just even though you were only able to play three regular season games, and you guys had an exhibition game as well against Pallet Mound. Just how did you feel like the shot was improving for you this season?
I think it was good because even like working at home, just shooting like a few pucks a day can make a huge difference. So that helped a lot.
And throughout the time of the league being shut down after it got shut down, how often did you find yourself just being able to go out on the pond or just whatever space you had to shoot at, just shooting pucks?
It was easy for me because like I have a rink in my backyard. So anytime I was missing hockey, I'd just go out there and shoot a little bit.
And how beneficial was that for you, just being able to have an ODR right in your
Yeah,
backyard?
it's really beneficial because not very many other people get to do that. So it was awesome.
What have you found throughout this time of not being able to play in any league games, any organized games this season that you've been, what do you feel like you've been working on the most in terms of just your skill set?
I think my speed, like, is very important because especially in girls hockey, like skating is very very important. So I've been trying to work on just getting faster.
What is something that you want to improve on the most heading into your third season with the Central Plains Capitals team come the season of 2021, 2022?
Probably just playing as a team, like having my teammates and being able to set them up also. So and being able to see the ice would be good.
And it seems like you guys are set up pretty well in terms of having returning players coming back into next season. Just how pumped are you to get it going again with most of the girls that you played with this season?
Very excited because like the first year we had 15 rookies, so this year
Yeah.
hopefully have 15 vets. So it's exciting that we have a chance to win a few more games.
Yeah, for sure. And I asked you last time what your role was on the line, and you said you were more of that goal scorer. And I forgot to ask you which line mates you played with this season.
So the past both seasons I played with Taylor Bell and Milena
Right
Drove.
on. Yeah.
So Milena she's gone next year, but Taylor will be coming back.
How excited are you to continue building chemistry with Taylor, specifically, just with you guys, transitioning into becoming older in this league? Just how excited are you to continue to build that bond and build that chemistry on the ice come next season?
Very excited because she's one of my like greatest friends. So it's good. It's good that often on the ice it's very good chemistry.
And just how tough was it in that last team session that you guys had this year, just saying goodbye to the vets that are graduating out of this program?
Oh, it was really hard. Just saying like you might not play with some of these girls ever again, so it's really sad.
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy that just, you guys were so excited to get the season rolling, and then you guys really didn't even have a season
Yeah.
at all. But just looking on to bigger and better things, just for you, knowing how much returning talent that there's going to be coming into next season. You guys got John Ferg returning as a head coach, just along with some other things as well. Just how how excited are you to set the expectations, the goals for yourself heading into next season, and what would those expectations and goals be for Danika Botterill heading into her third season in the MFHL?
Very exciting. I'm hoping to like try and reach out to some scouts like for schooling, but I'm hoping to be good this year and hope that the girls coming up can like ask me some things and I could teach them some things. So that'll be very exciting.
Yeah, and of course, with you being in that mentorship program, of course, I feel like you matured a lot more. And just heading into next season, I find that interesting that you're already kind of looking towards talking to more scouts and trying to get some recognition from universities more early on. Is that a goal for you to potentially commit early to a university next
Yeah.
season?
Yes, because then I could feel less stressed and
Yeah.
I could focus on school and keep continuing my hockey. I could work on specific little things.
Yeah, for sure. Once you get that commitment nailed down, it's pretty much easy sailing for there. And like you said, you get to relax as well. But yeah, that's going to do it, Danika. Thank you so much for joining me for the second ever time on Coffee with Graeme. Of course, it was an MFHL season coverage this time, but always nice to have players on from the MFHL here on Coffee with Graeme. This was number 9 of the Central Plains Capitals, Danika Botterill, joining me as the second guest in this Thursday edition of Coffee with Graeme. I'm going to send it to one more commercial break. We're going to hear from myself one more time some final words on today's edition of Coffee with Graeme here on ASTV Productions.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance. Quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5EVOLVE or support@evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions, and of course this is going to mark the end of today's episode, but before I let you guys go, I want to say a few things as always. As always, thank you to my guests who joined me today in MJBL, President Jamie Bettens, and number 9, Danika Botterill of the Central Plains Capitals. Also, a special thanks to you, the viewer, for tuning in today, and a special shout out to our sponsors in Pure, Fabricland Winkler, and Evolve Green for sponsoring today's episode. I'll be back on the network for another edition of Coffee with Graeme next week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time on ASTV Productions on Facebook, or on our website at astvproductions.com is where you can watch that edition of Coffee with Graeme. But until Tuesday, folks, I've been your host of Coffee with Graeme, Graeme Forsyth, signing off now. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe out there. Have a wonderful weekend as well. And until Tuesday, I'll see you then.